That's right, folks. It's time for another grab into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out Watching You, episode 4. Daddy, get your inside out tissues ready, folks, because this is going to be a tearjerker.
Yep.
Do 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 do. Okay, Dragon. So I'm willing to bet that the good folks over at Just Giggle It, from Joshua Thomas all the way down to all the fine people involved in this series who have been following this podcast, Dragon, I'm willing to bet they've been waiting for us to get to this particular episode.
Well, I recently episode 3 was a big one for them. They're really waiting to get to episode 3, and I would imagine it's kind of a package deal. If episode 3 is kind of the general crux, to okay, you got our balance here. We got our Taylor, we got our Jessica. Now this, of course, is a very big meat and potatoes of the series. I'd imagine. At least that's what I got from it. So this one, I imagine they would have to. It's a big box from the check. Oh, they're going to get to this one. They're going to love it.
Okay, so this. Dragon, this hit a nerve with me in a good way. I mean, like, as I said, in kind of like an inside out kind of way. Dragon, to illustrate, I have two ways to illustrate my point. Just two big, like, kind of thesis statements, all right? Number one, very simply, this is the Uncle Ben death on steroids.
Yeah, I picked up a little bit of that. I definitely got an Uncle Ben vibe in a good way. Yes, I definitely got that. I'm just saying, going on with the Spider-Man parallel we've been building in
exactly
character. So yeah.
And number two, Dragon, just to illustrate my point, the last sentence of my notes, which I'm very proud of because it just wraps everything up so fluently, is
spoiler alert.
Time to take a visit to the Pixar Tear Factory. Oh, man, this got to me, folks. This got to me. Fortunately, my father is still with me, still very much alive. But I got to say, Dragon, this episode just put me right in Jessica's shoes of this is exactly how I would react. Exactly. Like, I would be breaking down. I would be hysterical. I would be way more upset than my dad would be about the situation. Honestly, Dragon, just thinking about it, I'm probably going to be shedding some tears just talking through this because this is a rough subject for me to talk about because my dad is actually turning 60 this year. So, yeah, he's getting up there. But yeah, I guess that's kind of building up to it. Let's get into the thick of things, Dragon. Anything you want to say? Any thesis statements about this you want to get into?
Well, I'll save it for the thing. But before we do anything, of course, we should give some shout-outs where shout-outs are due, and with other fine projects, fine people just giggle it.
Of course. So, folks, the creators of this web series, specifically the fine Joshua Thomas, the Joshua Thomas Grand Slam.
Let's not go over with the fine thing. We got to say it for like the collective. We can't just say the fine Joshua Thomas. I'm not saying it isn't fine, but I'm just saying let's not go overboard. Everybody's fine.
We're all fine. I don't even know what fine means, Dragon. I don't even know where I'm pulling that from, honestly. It's like some new slang. I'm like subvertly kind of like trying to work into the
Let's try this. The genius creator Joshua Thomas, who of course showruns this show, also showruns another show that is fantastic. And what is that show called, Tiki?
It's called Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World.
You bet your boots, yes. And folks, this show is astonishing. If you if you love Batman, if you especially love Joker or Harley Quinn, this is the show for you. Folks, you got to check it out. You got to binge it. You got to watch it. Good news if you're like, I binge it. I mean, I don't have all the time today. Good news. It's not long, and it's only 5 episodes. How do we change that? You watch episode 5. Get all the way to episode 5. Heck, maybe even start at 5, then work your way backwards. Like a little mini mystery. I don't know. The point is, get to episode 5, watch it, tell your friends about it, tell your neighbors, tell the neighbors' pets, dogs, relatives, extended relatives that they don't talk to anymore. I don't care. Just tell those folks to watch the video. because we get those views up to 1 million. We get some other great episodes that are in the pipeline. I don't know how far they're into in their completion. I know we got some scripts at the ready here that we haven't seen. We've only been teased with, like, oh my god, episode 6 and 7. Just by glimpsing a page at each of them, it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. I gotta know what happens next. The only way we find that out, folks, is if we give Harley Quinn the Joker, episode 5, The Robbery, the views it so righteously deserves. It is a crime this thing didn't get to 1 million overnight, but let's just blame math on that one. The point is, folks, just watch it. Watch it, like, to pause this, watch it, come back to this, but just definitely come back to this, so please. And then, then watch it again afterwards. That's what you got to do for the show. And that fine channel, there's how you use fine thinking. That fine channel, Just Giggle It. Because, folks, it's not just Giggle It, it's Just Giggle It because it's an honest laugh.
All right. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you. So let's get into this. I'm terribly sorry, Dragon. I'm horrible with names. You're gonna have to remind me the name of the boss.
Hal.
Hal. Okay, thank you. So Zoe is talking with Hal about being on camera because Jessica's late. And meanwhile, Evan, I like how Hal is very much emulating the J. Jonah Jameson of it all. He's like, Evan, get the phone.
I love, so again, this is very, just breaking down kind of the structure of our episode here. We do get our comedy up front, so they're really sticking to the drama when it comes. Because don't get me wrong, we have like a little break from the drama. We're going to go like a deep dive into the drama after we get kind of our comedy out of the way. So it's mainly the comedy's up front. Like the first half is kind of where we're getting all of our comedy beats in there. We're definitely relishing it while we can. So again, to kind of have a great kind of even mixture in there. So like we, the phone's ringing. And Hal he's so lazy, he can't just reach the phone that's directly behind him. He has to have Evan
Which is totally a J. Jonah Jameson thing to do.
Yeah. So, by the way, so again, I love how vapid Hal is here, because Hal is, one, the fact that Zoe, again, like he's close with Zoe because, they've been intimate, Zoe's like, she's applying his makeup and everything. Again, the guy can't, because we've established that Lizzie Poncio's character from the previous episode, she will not apply other people's makeup, so they have to do it themselves. So Zoe's applying the makeup because she's kind of the dutiful, kind of quote unquote office flingy, not girlfriend, but kind of nookie girl. I don't know. The point is, she's there applying the makeup, and sorry, and Hal's like, hey, where's Jessica? He's worried she's not going to be there on time.
Where's Parker?
Yes. and the fact that Zoe almost is like a personal assistant has to remind Hal what he just did at the end of the last episode, where you asked, she's visiting her father and changing into something with more cleavage. Remember? He's figuring she's not going to make it, and he's asking, "What about you? You want to be on camera?" Yes. She's always very keen on being on camera. She's kind of bubbly personality when it comes to being on camera. Very in love with herself, this Zoe.
And in the comments, Joshua Thomas actually floated out the idea of a brunette Piper Henson playing Zoe in a potential Watching You season 2, Dragon, which I just love that.
I'm down for any. Piper Henson is such a talent. I'm just going to shout her out for a brief moment here, because she's not even really in the episode, but I mean, come on, co-founder Jessica, why not bring her up now and again? Piper Henson, folks, such a talent. We can't say enough nice things about Piper Henson. I'm saying if we have to, Jessica is
basically the YouTube equivalent to Vera Farmiga.
I mean, honestly, it's going to sound like we're overselling that, but yeah, it is true, because she is kind of, for all intents and purposes, she's kind of our YouTube actress equivalent to Farmiga. I mean, she's a jack of all trades, this Piper Henson, and Jessica amazingly. They're so good at recasting. I have the utmost faith in the world that Piper Henson will be able to pick up the ball and should be able to run with in a new and even potentially even better way. And that the same thing with Harley Quinn the Joker versus the real world, folks. We have our new actresses in place. The only way to tell if the potential that you're sensing on the surface, oh boy, I got a good feeling about Nicole Dubois as Harley Quinn. And this episode 5, she does a really good job. How we know more what she's going to do with it, we get more episodes. And the same thing could be said for a Watching You season 2, or technically kind of a continuation of season 1 semantics. Not important. Point is, Piper Henson as Zoe definitely work. Yes.
All right. Anyways,
ringing endorsement, Piper Henson.
And
watching
also
you
the
season
Cold
2.
War is Jessica as well.
And that'd be even better. I mean, yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're gonna give a glowing review to
Oh my God,
Prabilski.
yes.
Prabilski is amazing in this app. Oh my God, I can't wait to get to Prabilski. We're getting to it momentarily, folks.
If
But
YouTube had Oscars, Dragon.
oh my God, Kelsey Prabilski. She is. I'm getting a sense that she's probably busy with her own stuff. Maybe that's why they wouldn't be able to get her for a season 2. But again, everyone's busy, folks. No, like I'm sure, like she's talent earned, right? And people have noticed that talent. So we got to get Prabilski to other stuff, man. We can't let her linger around here while people are waiting to appreciate the wonder that is watching you. You know, we got to grab her up for stuff. So yeah, Prabilski, we're gonna highlight some of the talent that Prabilski's laying out for us this episode momentarily.
So,
anyway,
also, I want to kind of bring up another thing that Joshua brought up to us, which was during the initial screening of Watching You as an hour-long movie. The Taylor scenes actually got way more of a response than the Jessica scenes did. And I gotta say, at first I was surprised, but watching this episode, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, we need the Taylor stuff to lighten the mood a little bit. And Dragon, I will say this is the episode that I kind of come around on Taylor, because when Taylor comes on screen on this episode, I'm just like, yeah, we need this guy. This guy's kind of the glue.
No, we absolutely need him in this. I think it might be specifically in this installment, Tiki, because we need him to juxtapose the severity of our episode here.
Exactly.
Again, it's what I've been saying, Tiki. Taylor works best when it's a counterbalance, when you have something to counteract what he's doing, and kind of offset it in just the right way. And this episode is perfect. Again, it's less kind of a character-based version. That's more of a thematic version of that, but it's definitely still in play here.
All right, so yeah, I've definitely softened to Taylor as of this episode, but we'll get into that.
Let's see, getting back. So the phone's literally ringing right behind him, and he calls Evan. Evan, phone. Okay, so Evan, he gets bad news, ambiguous bad news to relate to Jessica, and then I love this. This cracks me up though. Again, all the comedy up front here, folks. I just love it. Hal he's so annoying in this scene. Again, he's the child of. He's really the big kid of K Control in the grand scheme of things. He's just the supercilious. Not supercilious. He's this ridiculous, overgrown man child he's running this company, and he's like the annoying kid on the phone while the adults are talking on the phone. He's just throughout the scene, like Hal is doing like this exercise for camera here. Hal Miller's mother made a magic baby. Hal Miller's mother made a magic baby as loudly as he can in the scene. Evan's like just the annoying parent on the phone. He's just trying to take in this really bad news as Hal is like literally offsetting this in the background as Zoe's like doing this. She's either using like a massage or like most likely like a lint like a lint brush or something, like a fancy lint brush, like a neck massager on the guy. Point is, as all that ridiculousness is going on, we have our dramatic kind of our cold open ends with this bit here, and a dramatic kind of what happened, Evan. You know what? Where's Jessica? Where's Jessica? She went to see her father. Oh, thank goodness. What happened, Evan? Of course, that's our balance of comedy and drama right there. As we don't even say it because you can kind of sense it in your bones. Oh boy, it's gonna be something involving her father. I
really like how the episode skips that conversation from that side of things. It's like we get into like, when we cut back to them, we don't need to see Evan explain it. It's already like, okay, like yeah, that's going down. Jessica's definitely not coming.
And what's great is, of course, you have some, we, the audience, are armed with information that our poor lead does not know yet. So we kind of go from that to, of course, the Watching You opening to an unsuspecting Jessica wandering, this wandering music going on here. Like she's just like do 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 do.
And this is like a little like brief bit of comedy, kind of like the walking past the hallway, then a little pause, and then like walking back to the hallway and the camera tracking her. That's a nice bit of cinematography.
I want to give credit where credit's due here. I'm channeling my inner Vince Gilligan here. I just want to give credit where credit's due. On kind of our recapping here. I love this dolly. I think it might be like a dolly back shot. It's literally pull back on that hallway. It's just a really great shot as we're kind of building Jessica's entrance into. It's like the drama is kind of targeting her. It's like this poor unsuspecting girl doesn't know she's in for a world of sadness coming up here.
Mhm.
Right. So then we have the sweet little meeting with the nurse, and now we're using our timing. We're using the timing very well, and it's really well paced. All of this, we're just kind of like boom, boom, boom. We're hitting the points we need to hit. Again, it's a very short episode. I think we forgot to mention that it's a 10-minute episode.
10 minutes, yeah. But my God, this is like a Mr. Greg for you Steven Universe fans out there. It's 10 minutes of awesome.
Sure, and of course, folks. Yes, we know the whole grand scheme. It's supposed to be like an hour and change, pilot. But the point is, it's as we're seeing it now, it's kind of a short installment, but a very powerful, pivotal installment. So yes, so she has a little.
Right, and also, it's worth mentioning that this is episode 4 out of 7, meaning this is the midway point.
Yes. So, of course, we know anything about taking our big advocates of the 3-act structure, of course.
Oh, God,
Act
yes.
2.
We've talked way too much about that.
Act 2 is when a lot of the big, substantial stuff happens in your act. And Act 2 is kind of it can sink the ship if you're not careful. If you don't sell, because Act 2 can drag on, it can get boring if you're not careful, but you have to really hit your dramatic, big story points in Act 2. Otherwise, what's the point?
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that some other time.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, we have this sweet little meeting with the nurse, and again, of course, Przybylski is just kind of right now. She's channeling what we've established with Jessica. Where it's just like, okay, she's kind of this sweet character again, almost kind of a geeky version of Vera Farmiga. So there's definitely that Farmiga quality too.
Oh, God.
Seriously, we've been building that though with Jessica. Jessica does have again. It's like
tell the folks who Vera Farmiga is if they're unaware, because she's.
How are they not? These are smart people we're talking about. Tiki. They know who Vera.
Okay, let's just admit she does a wonderful job as Norma Bates on Bates Motel. All right, I'd say Bates Motel doesn't have exactly the same kind of following as like Breaking Bad. Not every single person watch Bates Motel.
All right. It's on Netflix, so now at this point, we're in a generation where everything's on Netflix and everything should be kind of watched. Just even happens, and so wait,
Dragon, you know me. You know how much I still haven't even freaking gone to Luke Cage season 2. Come on now, we have busy schedules here.
That's very good, but yes, seriously, folks, if there is kind of an acting angel on this planet, it is Vera Farmiga.
Oh my God!
If you have just kind of this kind of one of the someone who has wears many hats of the emotional range. If she can be if she can be the cutest, sweetest, almost like a Miss Piggy in terms of actors. Oh my God, that's so over. She can go from just kind of sweet, nurturing mother to being kind of off her rocker and crazy and impulsive, but at the same time be able to bring it back and still be kind of in over her head. She hyperventilates. She's the whole rainbow of perfection. That's kind of what Vera Farmiga is in a nutshell. It's kind of the rainbow of perfection in terms of kind of all acting. So the point is Vera Farmiga is highest praise that we can play.
I want to make any promises because I would not do a beat by beat recap of The Good Doctor, but Dragon, whatever show Vera Farmiga follows up, my God, we need to look heavily into that.
Well, again, there's some movies that she's been doing lately that I'm very eager to get into, like The Commuter, for example. She's the bad guy in that movie. I really want to see that.
Okay.
Anyway, let's see. I'm sorry, getting back to the point here. So yes, we have the sweet little kind of meeting scene with the nurse and using the time well. So this, then we have
to call back to the classic Peanuts gag, which. Yeah, that's a stab in the heart right there.
That's one of my favorite bits in the episode because I love the way. And again, this one time, folks, now we're just starting to kind of open the can on Przybylski here of how she's owning this episode, buddy. It's right here where she's the way she says. I don't know if it's in the direction. I don't know if Joshua Thomas specified this or what. I don't know if it's just kind of a happy accent or what. I imagine it was in the direction where she had to be told here where she says, hey, have you seen the classic? Have you read the classic Peanuts strip today? And just the way she says, there's a sad inflection. There's kind of a sad contextual callback to that thing earlier on that she kind of said, and kind of Zoe kind of dismissed, and now she's bringing it up in a very, again, contextually, it's so sad that she's bringing this up in the nurse's reaction. That again, also, we're not.
Peanuts, very tragic. Kind of Peanuts is just a morbid comic in general.
Sure. I mean,
how I hate him being the thesis statement for that whole thing.
Exactly. So you have that going for it. You also have the kind of the beginning of the worst day in her life, where it started off so positive, her reading the Peanuts, And again, it's just kind of a symbol of she just is kind of this innocent, this innocent character. And of course, the third element that I really like here, what we do with this callback, is that the nurse is reacting to her as other characters have reacted to her. So we're not losing the fact that she's a character who needs the change, or at the very least, she needs that wake-up call. Because again, while we are basking kind of the Farmiga-esque kind of quality of Jessica, there's still like an element of, okay, there's something socially, she needs to kind of come out of her shell. She has an arc to go on, and we can't just have her she can't be entirely static. We can't abdicate that she remains the way she is. Otherwise, again, there's probably no show. There's probably we can't necessarily have her, not learn anything. So we're keeping all the plates spinning and all the balls rolling with that little callback, and just a simple callback.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. So yeah, as you said, the nurse is very much kind of taken aback by, Jessica being there in the first place. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And Dragon, it's just like the suddenness. It's just kind of like, put yourself in this person's shoes. Like, your dad went in for like kind of a routine checkup for his diabetes, and then suddenly, like, nope, it's the end of his life.
So yes, the nurse, she's very frantic in informing Jessica of this, and I've been calling you all day, and of course, Tiki wonderfully set this up that we saw her phone break while she was reading the Peanuts. Again, another dramatic kind of irony all there. So like video game sales, read the Peanuts trip today, and of course yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Is it laggy a little bit?
Well, yeah, I'm not really hearing you right now, so
I don't know. It just kind of like lagged out for me a little bit for a second there. I just want to make sure we were okay. Is it fine now?
Right, we're all good. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, I think we're good. Anyway, so
okay.
What was I getting about? Right. So again, we haven't forgotten like all the stuff that we set up where her phone broke, and of course we're calling that in the play of, okay, so she's been getting these calls that she has not been receiving, hence another Spider-Man callback here, kind of the Parker luck of it all that we've been establishing in the other episodes. This girl just has bad luck and just kind of social. She's not really a butterfly yet. And of course, like the nurse saying, "Oh man, I've been trying to call you all day, and thank goodness you're here. Your father, you tell. I can't tell the folks what happened. You tell them."
Oh, basically, her father had a massive heart attack, and he'll be lucky to make it through the night. But it breaks my heart the way the nurse puts it. Like, the fortunateness of this. Like, the fact that like this is the positive outcome. The fact that you actually get to say goodbye. Like, this is like. You know what I mean? Just kind of like the matter of factness of it. I don't know if I'm putting it into words quite right.
Yeah, I mean, she says he isn't recovering, and fortunately, you can say goodbye. Essentially, something like that. So I mean, yes, it is crestfalling, and again, folks, you got to remember there is sort of a clinical nature to the hospital staff. There's an element of that, and there's only so much you. Don't get me wrong. There's bedside manner that does count. But at the same token, sometimes you'll get nurses who've seen it all, and sometimes you get nurses who like the coddle kind of strangers coming in there. In this case, just kind of more of like a matter of fact, like she's sympathetic in that this girl doesn't know, but at the same time, it's like, well, you can say goodbye. It's like you've shown up before a real tragedy has occurred, and that you had not known, and you showed up when it was too late. At least you can say goodbye. So it's kind of it's like, hey, you showed up, so here's your participation award for missing the whole event.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you made it, but you get like the little reminder of like, hey, you came in last place. So, and again, that is kind of a summation of the Jessica character, where again she's this you root for her, but at the same time, life just keeps kicking her down that she can still kind of muddle on.
Mm-hmm.
So then we set this up here where she asks, "Is there anyone like you were on the next of kin list? Is there anyone else, anyone we can call for?" He says, "No, just me." And of course, we're setting up kind of this sad realization that Jessica's going to be all alone. And of course, the minute this is kind of put into play, especially later on in the scene with her doctor, let's say, I I love that we're just you can put the pieces together again. The mystery continues to unravel of why on earth, this sweet Shunin character is going to be paired with this obnoxious actor.
You know what, Drake? I'm glad you bring that up because this is turning into like a Better Call Saul Gene sort of thing.
In a way, yeah, because I mean, definitely we get a lot of. This episode is chock full of clues that we'll break down. We get a lot of great clues this episode as to what might happen. Anyway, let's get to the meat and potatoes of it all. So we meet Keith.
Yes.
Keith, we've been building up for 3 episodes now because we again, get our folks again chronologically. This is all happening on one day essentially. This is 2 days ago from when Jessica's waking up in bed, and this is like the first day, and this is kind of like the mid like around 5 o'clock, I guess, of the first day. So we meet her father, who again had gone in for his diabetes, and it's building to kind of her one bad day / the real cell line of the series is 2 people who meet each other on the worst days of their lives. So this is again. We're seeing the worst day of Jessica's life unfolding before us, and that's kind of the realization you have this episode. Like, oh, we got in a sense of Taylor's worst day, where Taylor's worst day is like, oh, that silly actor, look what mess he got himself into, and now with Jessica, it's like, oh, this poor girl in her worst day.
No, when you put it that way, it's like Taylor's got it freaking easy.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is very easy. This thing I gotta give major props to this episode for. This very easily could become hokey melodrama or like a soap opera, and what we do, we have these human touches that prevent it from being there.
Absolutely. They play it on the realism of the situation, kind of like the "what would you do" quality.
I can't tell you how much I detest soap operas and melodramas, specifically soap operas. They frustrate me so much because they use like the worst camera. They have like there are no second takes in a soap opera. It looks so bad. The whole thing, it's like, oh, who wrote this? Did no one think of doing a take 2 on this? Is there any can someone turn down the music?
Right.
It's the hokiest. I can't, because I always battle, like, folks, we have these excellent shows in the CW, not even the superhero shows. We have all these, like, your Riverdales, like all these others. So that's a melodrama that at least is competently made, and people are still watching. So why are soap operas not extinct? That's my real question.
Well, that's a whole different conversation. Right. We could do a whole podcast on that.
I'm going on a rant, folks. Excuse me. Sorry. Anyway, getting back on point here. So we have all these great human touches that really kind of prevent it from falling into that rabbit hole. Like, we see Keith and we meet him, and he's in good humor. Like he's saying, "Is that a supermodel I see?" I'm just playing a baby girl, and Jessica kind of walks up there, and there's Uncle Ben. There's absolutely Uncle Ben quality here.
Like I said, Dragon, it's Uncle Ben on steroids. It's like take the most powerful portrayal of Uncle Ben you've ever seen in the comics and amplify that by like 10.
Well, I mean, honestly, with him on his back for the whole scene, it is very reminiscent of kind of Cliff Robertson's Uncle Ben, and that was a very powerful Uncle Ben. Let's not forget.
Oh God, yes, that's to me, that's the Uncle Ben.
Don't get me wrong, I love Martin Sheen too, but I mean, just that Uncle Ben, that's one of the definitive Uncle Ben scenes ever. I mean, that's it's the big we had that traditionally when Uncle Ben dies, he's not in the same scene with Peter. I mean, that's a thing that movie has over a lot of things. That was the first time we had Peter having a last moment with Uncle Ben, which is why it's almost like kind of a Bambi moment for superheroes. Like, oh my God, how do you make this? Like, what if Bambi was there when the shot was fired? It's kind of like. Anyway, so yes. So as we kind of introduce that scene, then we cut to a little bit of comedy.
Yes. Thank God. Just kind of like a little bit of a pulse in the episode. All right, so let's see. So Hal Miller is just trying to get like the same take over and over, much like he was doing on the phone when Evan was on the phone, I should say.
Yes, and we have the sexual harassment. Sexual harassment, which is no bueno. So apparently, this is one of the few bumpers they're working on here for like commercial. Well, yeah, sorry, not For all I know, it could be like a series of sexual harassment videos, but the point is like they're calling this one sexual harassment. No bueno.
If only they had Steve Rogers working for them.
Oh, Tiki, if only. So, so Hal's nervous and he's very self-critical, and I love this little detail here where it's sort of like to quote Pixar here. It's like we sand the undersides of the drawers, sand the undersides of the table here. It's like all these little details with the fact that they don't cut. I love that they don't cut here. That's like the thing where you'll notice on gag reels sometimes, or like when things are being shot or multiple takes are being shot, the reason we have gag reels is because they don't. Many a time is they let it roll. They keep it rolling.
Mm.
So it's like, he botched the line. Can I go again? He says, yeah, sure, keep rolling. And we have our director character, I believe. Now we have clarification on that. We at least had it spelled out phonetically, so I hope I'm not botching this up. But phonetically, it seems to be.
I know exactly how to say it now. It's Xerxes.
Yeah, that seems to be how it is. So if we're wrong,
it's the villain from 300.
Or it's the deleted Incredibles villains. No, that's too deep to cut. The point is, Xerxes, yes.
All right.
Of course, Xerxes is just kind of having a fun. Xerxes really, I really liked him here more than I liked in the other episode. The other he was fine, just kind of introduced the last minute, but here we're kind of having some more fun with him as a director, which is
kind of like establishing him a little bit more, kind of giving him a little bit more range.
We have this hilarious take where how he gets nervous and he's speaking very fluent Spanish.
You're speaking Spanish, Howie.
Do you not hear that? Now we have this little detail here again. These little details are what kills me about this. Like, we're just not only do we have these excellent little details that ground the drama, we also have them that kind of flesh out and kind of make the comedy pop even more. Where Taylor has to crouch below the camera. To walking to his mark during the scene.
Yep.
Then here to walk us through the do's and don'ts. Do's, and of course I just love. I love our director here saying, "How?" It's just like, you idiot! You have to edit that out now. It's Dickie Jones. So then Tiki, take us through this part. You love this part.
Yes. So Taylor just pops on camera and he just kind of does these just like a quick succession of finger guns, just kind of like swagging his way to his mark as if he just owns the place.
Johnny Walters here, he's just hysterical.
Honestly, Dragon, this is the moment that kind of made me like, yeah, this Johnny Walker guy, he's all right. This Taylor guy, all right. I can see the juxtaposition here. Like, this is going to work out.
I gotta tell you, that's the thing this guy's always been selling me on. I love the physical comedy this actor can portray. It fills me with confidence that we're gonna do like a man with two brains, like Steve Martin physicality with this guy when things get going. And again, we don't know exactly how the whole. That's still the mystery, folks. How exactly this is gonna work. But the point is, I still think we're gonna get like a lot of good physical comedy like that movie with Taylor. So, fingers crossed. So Dickie Jones. So Taylor, basically we get a sense that Taylor's his Kid Cudi.
You confuses Kid Cudi with Kid Control, yes.
I think Taylor's bound to botch this job up. That's my prediction.
Dragon, have you? I'm just curious. I'm just going to do a layman's test for you all. Dragon, are you even vaguely aware of who Kid Cudi is?
Honestly, no. Who?
All right. There we go, folks. There we go. Anyways, I know who Kid Cudi is.
Do I want to know?
I mean, he's just a rapper. He's I don't know. He's gone through a lot of very dramatic change over the years, let's just say, but I digress.
Did he change his name like 8 times? Because I think
No. He just basically he went from like smoke weed every day to like clean and sober. And not in kind of like a cool way, more in just kind of like a preaching about not smoking weed every day.
So basically,
so kind of like he went from one extreme to the other. It's like he went from like I don't want to get into it. It's a whole rabbit hole.
The point is, it's not like a Michael Keaton clean and sober way you're doing.
No. It's more of just like a don't do drugs, kind of like a cartoon All Stars kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Or like a Combat Carl, stay in school.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, like I said, it's a whole rabbit hole. Anyways.
The point is digging ourselves out of that rabbit hole.
Yes,
Let's get back. Let's see. I think okay, that takes us to again. We have great timing with Taylor. It's flawless. So then, okay, then we get to our main.
Strap yourselves in, folks. Oh boy.
So for this, folks,
I wish we still did the webcam stuff and we had the inside out tissues. Do you want to explain that really quick?
Sure, and you can answer this for me too. Like, I don't know if do you still have them?
No, I don't. I mean, I would very easily make them again if we ever did webcam stuff again.
But I'm sure there actually do exist inside out tissues. Just they're expensive though. I think that because it's not expensive. I shouldn't say expensive. I think they're harder to find now. I think that's more the case. Like if you found them, you'd have to really do some digging to find. The point is, folks, simply this. Deegan and I, of course, big fans of Pixar, but of course, Inside Out, one of their finest films. And Inside Out, of course, there are the moments where you just if you basically you're at a Pixar movie and you're watching things, and even if you're outside of something like Inside Out, just watching a moment to get you emotional, you'd be reaching for your Inside Out tissues, as in like the last time you got super emotional at a Pixar movie, like you're dabbing your eyes and you'd be hearing the music. It's kind of the sad Inside Out theme playing. It's like, oh my god, this is so emotional. I need the Inside Out tissues because again, Pixar should be selling, handkerchiefs and tissues for their movies now because they get so emotional. I mean, just look at Bow, folks. I mean, Bow.
Oh my god.
I won't say what happens, but Bow. Okay. Let's see. So speaking of the heavy stuff, folks, warning here, folks, if you're going to be prone to the tears, even people talking about emotional stuff,
honestly, I'm going to have a hard time with this. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is sensitive territory for me.
I mean, look, I'm not going to lie, it's a little sensitive for me too, but it's at the same token, they did their job so right as storytellers with how they convey this, because I'm saying sensitive is like a compliment. I'm saying sensitive is it genuinely touched a nerve, as good emotional scenes should do. I mean, it's absolutely haunting and played as realistic as they could. And again, folks, this is the wonder of Just Giggle. Again, you'd imagine, like at first glance, even with just any video Just Giggle, you imagine, okay, it's like a sketch show. I've seen like a billion sketches. Like, what is this going to offer me that I can't get like anywhere else? And of course, you watch it. Oh my god, these guys do sketches better than any other any other sketch that you've seen. I mean, like again, that's like the highest caliber of comedy, but by the same token, as we see with some of their darker sketches as well.
I can't tell you how many friends I've introduced to Just Giggle It now, like just kind of like watching random sketches. Like Serial Mom is a good one to kind of like introduce people to, honestly. A lot of people get a kick out of Serial Mom.
And of course, stuff like Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World also has its emotional moments as well. Again, there's a balance there. Again, reflecting kind of like a Harley Quinn where you got your laughs, you get right away, Puddin', yes, sir, Mr. J, along with the whole like abusive relationship side of things. You always have that kind of that. You would have to reflect that balance if you have a show with Harley Quinn in the title. So, anyway, so speak again, folks. There's your little warning. Now we're going to really dive into it here. So, let me say this. Here's my opening. This is basically my thesis statement I was holding off for. It's basically with all of this. So, folks, I'm going to say this. It really hit me what happens to Jessica in this episode. I felt the deepest swell of pity I could in that what happens to Jessica here, what happens to her in this episode, is something that I wouldn't wish on even my most hated enemy. I really mean that. And that there are people I really hate in this world I could count on one hand. There are a few of them. Well, I won't lie. But the point is, even those people that I got a deep down, like a legit hatred for, I wouldn't wish this on them. I can't imagine anyone going through this. Of course, saying people, obviously, they go through, but it's like I couldn't, in my own shoes, this would be something that could break a person. I wouldn't wish this on.
Yeah, and talk about a cliffhanger for one, but
yes, I mean structurally, we're gangbusters, and of course we don't have any promos or anything because we don't want, you don't want to shy away.
It was a very smart, creative choice, I thought.
Of course. So again, folks, a little thesis there. I mean, this is the play the most realistic, like it's the most like it's a universal experience everybody dreads in their deepest heart of hearts, and myself included. And it's something that you never want to acknowledge as a reality. And
oh yeah.
well, let's go through it. So So, and again, the way we start right at the gate here with Keith. So, by the way, here's the one nitpick I have with this whole thing. There, it's nothing with the
How
episode.
dare you, Dragon?
No. Here's the thing. It's not with the episode. It's with
all right.
the publication of the episode. Okay, Keith. I love Keith in this episode, but his name is not in the credits.
Huh.
I looked up and down, and I don't know if maybe like by the last episode it'll be like in the final credits of the whole pilot, and maybe that's the case. It's like what we have at Super Academy. I don't know. If that's not the case, that's a big problem. Who, like, I'm assuming it's Joshua Downs. I don't know who, but whoever finalized the credits, they missed something pretty big. Because either that or they changed his name and they forgot to change it back or something. Because again, I looked through the names and I couldn't find Keith or anyone else who would fit the build of a Keith. And again, it's unless we all misheard Keith for somehow. I don't know. Anyway, getting into it as a Keith right off the bat here, he does an excellent job as well. He says, she said, "You're going to be all right," and his response is, I'm not going to be all right, but that's okay. I love the way he says, "But that's okay." That's the line that melted my heart this episode. Where he says, "That's okay." Mm-hmm. It's just the genius line, and it's so delicate. It's so just that delivery. That delivery is again what a father would say to his daughter if this was the end, and he wouldn't want to be. I mean, Kevin Smith historically, he has a very traumatizing story about what happened with.
Oh God, yes. Oh my God.
And this is kind of the much softer version of something like that, where again, like a parent.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, Dragon, this might be like the closest we're ever going to get to like if there was a Kevin Smith biopic, like what a scene like that would be like.
Sure, and of course Kevin Smith, he's kind of a near scare this year himself. Thankfully, of course, knock on wood. Thankfully, he's
of course
he has endured. He's a trooper, and he's a beloved trooper. So the point is, we have that sincerity. Again, if a parent were cognitive of, again, like bear in mind, like situations were different when the Kevin Smith's father and the Donald Smith, it was like a sense of, he was more in the moment for himself. He wasn't really aware of what was going on around him because again, he was kind of in dire straits at that moment. And here again, if you have last moments where again you're cognitive of the situation and you know that you're not going to make it, you're probably not going to make it through the night. You have to impart some serious lessons, hopefully, to your kid before you're going to leave this earth. So he's saying, like, he's giving like kind of like words of wisdom before he goes here. Again, very Uncle Ben. It's like, what if Uncle Ben knew, he was dying? It's sort of again, he wasn't tragically. Uncle Ben wasn't able to say anything except for Peter. Like, oh, Peter.
right, Peter.
Before he passed, and here's like, okay, like if you have, it's almost like a gift. It's like kind of a bittersweet gift that you can have a moment with your daughter towards the end here, where saying you look like your mother, and of course, and Probilski here as Jessica, she's saying you can't leave me. It's not fair. And again, you can see the fear and the dread of the uncertain future in the performance here, where, and he has again the comforting line here. Well, I'll always be. It'll always be you and me. We'll always be together, essentially. And then this reveal here. So, of course, it was kind of spoiled in the promo. Never mind, all promos kind of spoil things. So then we have our doctor character, and our doctor is Bill Gundry, the man at the door from episode 2. It's the very same guy.
Dun dun dun.
So again, very interesting, and I think my prediction with Doctor, well, he doesn't have a last name yet because again, he's still credited as man at the door, but regardless, just Doctor. We don't know anything about this guy. Just Dr. Gundry, let's call him for now. I think I think he actually is a doctor, but I think he's a doctor of the experimental variety who's kind of like doing this on the side. That's what I think they're doing with him. I think that stuff on the side is going to be what gets our connecting points kind of linking up.
Interesting.
More on that later in the episode. So, and again, Bill Gundry is great in this episode too. Again, I love the kind of the softness, and we saw some great kind of like he was more like a fun door-to-door salesman type, kind of a moral, kind of ethical door-to-door salesman. Now we're having sort of this comforting guy in the room. It's so friendly. I loved it. Where he's saying, "Hey Keith, how's it going, sir?" And he says, "Dandy, I could use some. I could sure use some banana pancakes." Asking, can you do anything for him? Do you mean the actual pancakes or the Jack Johnson song, which I listened to, by the way, after this? And I got to tell you, that's the only thing. Again, I'll save that for the end. Never mind. Just the whole Jack Johnson song. He says, a little of both. He says, okay, we'll see what we can do about that. So I mean, he just feels like a real doctor because real doctors are gonna have senses of humor, and of course they want to freak their patients out. And again, he just seems like a good guy with a lot of humanity, which tracks what we saw before and makes him even more appealing as a medical doctor, even if it's just a medical doctor with stuff on the side.
Yeah, very enigmatic presence. This man at the door character.
Gundry, he's bringing it, man. So then Dr. Gundry here and Jessica, they have a word in private. So they have a little word outside the room, and Jessica's asking them what are the odds looking like, essentially. And the doctor tells her, he'd be lucky to last through the night. And unfortunately, folks, as we've established with Jessica, she has Parker luck, which means he's not going to be lucky.
Yep.
So, and then this is a beautiful scene here. You want to take us through with Jessica here?
Oh God, do I have to?
I can do it if you'd like.
We'll kind of like tag team it, all right?
All right. So Jessica, she's in a position I think we'd all be in, and if it were our fathers here. She's offering her blood, her heart, she's offering what can I give him? What can I do to save him? Does he need blood? Sure. Without a heart transplant, we'd never be able to find a donor in time. And she offers her like, take mine. And again, I love that Przybylski's so smart here because she's not losing with her while being desperate, while having the desperation. We're not losing the fact that again, she's not really thinking the situation through. And again, I think some of that might be stemming from kind of the social growth that she needs to make through the course of the series. Because it's just like the way she delivers that is in a way of like, the only tie she has, like the only sociable bond that she has, like the only true dynamic that she really has with another person that is reciprocated in a way that really counts is her father. And that's why she's fighting as hard as she can to keep her father around. Because when that's gone, then she'll be alone. Then she'll feel truly alone in the world. So, Gundry here, he's saying, Miss, I'm afraid it's not possible. It's one of the most admirable things I've heard, but I basically, I know you mean. I love that line where it says, "I know," and I know you mean it because you can sense that. Mm-hmm. But it's just it can't be done. It just can't be done. He's worried about Jessica, especially after this display of affection. You're like, just so worried about Jessica. Like I'm more worried about you. I mean, we offer counseling. We offer counseling for families here, and like you're probably going to need counseling for tomorrow. So she says, and she basically turns him down for the counseling because right now she just wants to kind of spend her last moments. She wants to be with her father in his last moments. She wants to be with Keith. So let's see. Then we have this, a lot of real moments here where Jessica, it's
brutal, Dragon. I mean, it's flat out brutal.
Where Jessica, she's afraid of not having anyone. She speaks to that genuine fear so well, and again, it's like it's like you're waiting for the clock to strike 12, and it's kind of. I'll give you a broad example because we got to get some levity in here, folks. I'm gonna give you a broad example. It's like Muppet Christmas Carol. It's like when the Ghost of Christmas Present, the one that befriended Michael Caine, one of the friends. It's like of course, like when the clock strikes midnight, or like after a bell tolls like 12 times. That's when he disappears because he only lives for the present, only lives for Christmas Day, as it's like a 24-hour thing. And he ages, and he dies. They play it off as if he dies instead of just it goes to the next ghost, and you feel that loss of like you can feel time running out, and Scrooge like having befriended this character, and like no, please, like don't go. Like what do I need to know going forward in life? Essentially, can I have something like that here with Jessica, where she's just like, please don't go here. I don't want to be alone. So what her father does here is so beautiful, and again, big foreshadow. He's trying to keep things light, and he's thinking back to when if Jessica were to feel alone. Remember, you essentially saying you never have to be alone. Remember that imaginary.
And Dragon, there's a reason why I've been stressing the inside out of it all so much, and we're about to get to it.
I sense a Richard Kind reference coming up. Yeah, so she is. Her father, so Keith is reminiscing about Jessica's imaginary friend, Mr. Piddles. Mr. Piddles, of course, now, of course, Mr. Piddles is brought into the fray. I'm sure Tiki and I were both thinking of Bing Bong,
Bing bong, bing bong.
played by the wonderful Richard Kind. Of course, a very impactful moment from Inside Out that it's very Inside Out tissue worthy.
Take her to the moon for me.
Take Riley to the moon for me. We were supposed to. We went back in time. We had breakfast twice.
It's not fair, Dragon. It's not fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not fair. And then again, speaking to kind of the Bing Bong of all, and again, I will make it clear. From what I understand, this is made before Inside Out. By the way, all right.
Oh yeah, right, for
again,
sure.
I mean, you'll look, folks. If you watch the video, you'll notice the date's like 2016. I'm pretty sure this is made in 2012. I'm pretty sure, at least in like the 2012 2013 range. Like I think they shot in 12, came out maybe as it was coming out, drift in the 13. I'm not entirely sure. The point is before Inside Out, so it's all legit, folks. It's all above board here. So they're reminiscing over the crazy adventures. Oh, you used to tell me stories about the crazy adventures you'd have for hours, and you'd always found. Basically, you always found ways to get through things, and he has faith in his daughter. You're still going to be able to do that. And of course, let's just say I'm having a sense that Taylor is going to be kind of the Mr. Piddles in her life going forward.
Oh man.
So again, this line feels very foreshadowing. Again, more on that kind of spec at the end there. But so, I mean, here's the line. This to me. So again, with Taylor, we kind of had we kind of deemed it kind of the liar liar candles moment.
Sure.
You know, again, like you never have it directly explained, but you have that line that is kind of like the old woman with the rose from Beauty and the Beast. It's kind of like that magical, like, okay, this is that character is going to like lay the curse on you, or is going to like put things into play like the candles. And I think this moment here, this line specifically, this is Jessica's version of it. This is Jessica's when Keith says, "I will always make sure you're taken care of," and that's a promise. And I think with that promise. I think that promise is kind of like what solidifies kind of fate going on here. And importantly, our doctor bears witness to all this. And I think that's very pivotal and very important that he bears witness, not just having met her, but he bears witness to this promise and the whole, like, the father's last wishes that, take, to look out for her and see if she's taken care of. So you see the grip loosen, and no Deadpool fake outs this time, folks. The grip loosens. And by the way, I noticed this on a rewatch just now. I don't know, and this is a big thing to be answered for us, I guess. When Jessica puts her head on her father's arm, crying over her father, really very sad loss. It's a big tragedy for Jessica. You hear a little.
Oh, I mean, Drake, can I just say, like, at this point, it was hard for me to watch the episode, and I was just like, oh man, this is honestly one of the most brutal deaths of a father I've ever seen in any medium. I can say that honestly.
It's very, very heartbreaking. Yes, it's so. Again, here's the thing that gets me about it. T. The thing that really depresses me about it. He never got his pancakes. That's all he wanted, some pancakes, and I know time was of the essence, but I mean, even the song he deserves some pancakes, man. I know it sounds silly, but it was like it's like a last meal sort of thing, I wish he got some pancakes for you.
All right, so as I said, Dragon, in my notes, the final thing I have is time to take a visit to the Pixar Tear Factory.
Well, real quick, so as her head leans on the arm, you hear this little ding. You hear this little bell sound. And I don't know if it's just happenstance. I don't know if it's like something that's...
I didn't pick up on that.
So the minute her head touches the arm, you hear like a little ding. And it's not like a flat line. It's like a little ding. I don't know if it's just like the Foley or something just kind of got left in there. Or perhaps, it's speculation here, perhaps that's kind of the candles going out, if you will. Maybe that's when, again, something's happening there.
Okay.
So, and of course, she's sobbing. She's like, "Daddy, don't go." It's just again, story wise, what we hit here in our last moment is this great, beautiful shot of her, this beautifully tragic shot of her leading over her father, and we see that Jessica has hit a low. She's hit her very somber low point of the series, and again, Dr. Gundry bears witness to all this. That's the final note of the episode. So, in general, speculation was because folks don't get any promos here. It's all just like.
Well, and then also, I just want to say very smartly, Dragon. They play the credits just against the black screen with no music, and that's all we get. And I think that was just a very subtle but artfully done touch.
Absolutely.
All right.
So again, I think the Doctor somehow is going to be the responsible for the link. Again, if that bell isn't like something supernatural that we're never going to explain. And again, we might not have to. They don't necessarily have to explain it, but we're just thinking of like potential ways if they are going to explain it. But like the bells, like if we never get an answer, that bell.
To tell you the truth, Dragon, at this point, I don't even know if we're going to get back to that. Like the whole season might be setting up that.
Sure. And again, it's something that you don't necessarily need answers. Just like a what if. If we do get an answer, that bell might be it. If not, again, speculation-wise, it could be the Doctor is like the causal link. I mean, he is in both scenes, and he's ominously, he was a man at the door, and he's a doctor. He seems to be our link between Taylor and Jessica after this. And what I like to think is my theory, again, how this is going to come about, I don't know, but I think the Doctor, if the Doctor's involved, what's going to be is that honoring Keith's last wishes and seeing this girl who's such a good person, who is exactly what this other guy that he met the same day needs. She's going to put them together to fix each other.
Ooh, I like that.
So again, that's kind of our 100 Deeds of Eddie McDowell kind of pairing of like, hey, I'm going to take the kid who was the bully, I'm going to make him the dog of the kid that he was bullying. So essentially, something like that. Where again, I think our Doctor's he's going to try to help both of these people who really kind of need each other. Again, she can't be alone. This guy really needs like a really good influence. Again, bada bing, bada boom. So again, the imaginary friend concept. We bring up the imaginary friend. Now, I don't know if that means that imaginary friend bit suggests to me, whether it's like directly this or not, it suggests to me that it could be a situation where Taylor can't be seen, but only Jessica can see him.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
And I threw out the theory before, and again, this still could happen.
You did, right.
Well, no, there's like could go one of two ways where it's like the imaginary friend route, or an interesting way they could go about it is that maybe the reason he can't be left alone with her is like he's like magnetically. He can't leave a room without her. Like they're joined at the hip almost. They have to be in the same proximity to each other. It might be that if he's around her, then he can be seen. But if he's away from her, then it gets to the imaginary friend territory. So again, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Again, we still have. We haven't even gotten to the link up yet with these two. We've seen them.
And like I said, again, at this point, it is very possible that the link up happens at the end of the season, and like the whole build-up is kind of how the link up happens in the first place.
Entirely possible. So the next episode is sexual harassment. Let's kind of say it the way.
Which we assume is probably going to be the Taylor side of things from what was going on here.
I think it's going to be mainly comedic with some serious undertones with the Taylor character. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be an episode mainly Taylor centric, and it's going to be Taylor reaching a low point. And perhaps basically him getting fired from the job for some reason, and maybe his car is either stolen or something. The point is, I'm imagining he's going to be walking home, or his car is going to break down. He's going to get outside the car, and then he's going to be hit by a car, which would, make him into kind of this ghost in limbo or something.
Okay.
Again, the point is, I think he's going to reach. I think we've seen kind of her side of the low point. We're going to get his side of the low point. Then episode 6 is going to be when I'm thinking 6 or 7. Again, 7 obviously, but. I guess I'm hoping 6 will be our link up. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping that 6.
What's the title for 6?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, can you look it up really quick?
Sure. Why don't you tell the folks at home what they can do for season 3 of the Just Giggle Grab Bag while they do?
Yeah, sure, folks. So with the Just Giggle Grab Bag, as you know, we're in the middle of season 2 of the Just Giggle Grab Bag, which is, of course, season 1 of Watching You. For all you Nintendo fans out there, that's kind of like a Super Mario Advanced situation where it's like Super Mario Brothers 2, but it's Super Mario Advance 1. I digress. Confusing analogy. what you can do, folks, is of course, Just Giggle It has they have like a ton of sketches out there. I want to say over 70, right, Dragon?
It's in the 70 range. Yeah, I think
Uh,
it's definitely over 60. I think it's between 70 or 80. I'm not entirely sure.
yeah, so point being, folks, we've covered 10 of them. We have a lot more to go. So you can help us with that. You can if you've been following Just Giggle It, or if you just want to help out by watching some of these sketches and then kind of picking your favorites. Because basically, for all intents and purposes, we want season 3 of the Grab Bag, after we finish up with watching you, to be a fan request season. No matter if that's like 3 episodes or 13 episodes or 33 episodes, Dragon. I want it to be all fan requests all the time.
So far, it's 3, folks. You can add to that, and you can add to that. You can make the longest season ever.
Oh, we have 3.
Yeah, so far we have. Well, we have 3 so far. Yes.
Okay, cool.
So the point is, we have 3 so far, folks. You can add to it. We'll shout you out by all means. We'll give you all the credit in the world. We'll recommend you. We'll links to the channels by all means. Everything. Just you just gotta put it at the bottom of the video or on the Just Giggle community page, preferably at the bottom of the video or any of our kind of grab bag videos, and we'll definitely we'll put it in there, and it will absolutely get to it for that 3rd season of Just Giggle Grab Bag after we finish watching you, of course. So that's when that's going to start getting kicked off.
All right.
Yes. Okay. So
yeah, just based on speculation, Dragon, I'm very curious. What are our remaining titles?
All right, so episode 6 is Repercussion, and episode 7 is season finale. So basically, the pilot and season finale.
Well, season finale. Yeah, okay. Repercussion, Dragon, it is very possible that the penultimate would be when we link everything up.
One last thing that occurred to me with the speculation is that because the somber touch was really smart for this, and again, considering the whole the extended pilot thing of it all, this is probably why they didn't do this if they were thinking about this. But I'd love them to do it.
And like I said, Dragon, this is probably why the Taylor scenes went off better than the Jessica scenes in the live screen, is because when Taylor's on screen, it's like, hey, we love that guy. He doesn't make us cry.
Right. I really want him to end on the. I kind of want either the last scene of the show or maybe just in the credits of the last episode for season finale. Basically, what the intended end of the pilot is. I'd like the banana. I'd like the Banana Pancake song to play.
Ooh, that's a good call.
Because it would be really fitting, and for all I know, maybe we opened the show with Jessica having breakfast, so maybe she's having banana pancakes with Taylor.
Oh man, okay.
While that song is playing. And again, honoring her father, who again is kind of one of the inciting incidents that kind of gets them together. And also, oh my God, this just occurred to me. Oh my God. And with Taylor never stuck around for breakfast. So again, there was a breakfast theme with it.
Walter Jr. would just get a kick out of this, Dragon.
Yes. But yeah.
All right. So honestly, Dragon, I don't really have anything to say that I haven't already said. I think this is quite a masterstroke of emotion, if I do say so myself. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just sucking up to the people that Just Giggle It because we're on friendly terms with them, folks. I mean it. This is genuinely, this affected me. Greg, I'll say this much. This definitely affected me more than anything else I've seen since Coco.
Really? It's pretty.
And that, I'm going to say this much. I'm sorry, Dragon. I know this is touchy territory for you, but that includes Won't You Be My Neighbor. Yeah, this emotionally affected me more than anything in Won't You Be My Neighbor. So, all right. Any final thoughts on your end, buddy?
Yes. So, folks, my final thoughts of this episode is such an excellent low point for the Jessica character. I mean, Kelsey Prybilski, she's phenomenal. I guess, bear in mind, of course, it's separated into various episodes, but I guess this is kind of the Emmy section of the pilot episode for the internet Emmy for your consideration, Prybilski.
Screw Emmy, Dragon. This deserves an Oscar, all right?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of.
I don't care if it's a pilot.
No, I don't. I mean, literally, it's against TV more suited for the Emmy.
I don't care. Change the rules. Give her an Oscar. Give her Holly Berry's Oscar.
Yeah, sure. We'll lease out Holly Berry's Oscar.
Holly Berry's Oscar is like leased out to everyone, anyways.
To be fair, I mean, she really didn't earn that Oscar.
All right.
I mean, seriously. I mean, if we're gonna
Right, to be fair, who has actually watched Monsters Ball?
Exactly. So anyway, so again, Superbilski, she's phenomenal here. Again, one could say Oscar worthy, if not Oscar least worthy. And it's a great dramatic episode to endear the main story of the series. So I think this is really, again, kind of what we've had with something like Joker and Harley Quinn. You need kind of a balance there. You need that balance, and this is like a big episode of all balance, man. It's all like this is kind of the big. This is the Uncle Ben. This is kind of the Book of Genesis. Like, you know, this is going to be. Honestly, it's like when things start to come into focus here. And again, we don't have all the answers by any stretch, but it's kind of emotionally everything's coming to focus here. We're going to see that. It's this at the end of the day. It's kind of like it's kind of like for anyone who watches The Flash for the first time, where you have that story of like, if anyone wasn't familiar with the character of The Flash, just watch the CW show and like you watch that first episode, you watch like the gist of it and like the whole recap and the opening. So the whole you learn it's a boy whose mother was murdered. It's kind of like a story like that. In this case, it's a girl. This whole story is about a girl who lost her father, with this innocent worldview and this egotistical actor and finding his humility through this girl. So again, they're both like these two very different, these two different people, these really interesting or really over the top stories that are going to be fused together to really kind of make them like kind of make this really interesting narrative. That again could be by all means funny, by all means kind of this gives me hope that we're going to have some dramatic undercurrent to all this, that while we're laughing, there's still going to be a bit of like emotional investment in these characters. You're going to want to see them grow. You're going to want to see.
I mean, Dre, I'll say this much: like I'm on the edge of my seat after this episode way more than I was after the previous three.
I mean, I guess in the grand scheme, with just with the Flash comparisons, again, Flash has a really good pilot that again kind of opens the door for the series, and by that logic, this is like the best sort of like pilot itis you can have, where you have like that hook moment in the pilot. This is like one of those. The opening of the show and this moment seems to be kind of like the highest points that we've hit so far. Like, yeah, this show absolutely, you know, this is like one of those episodes where I gotta know what happens next. You have my money. I gotta know what happens next on this. So
sure.
So high marks this episode is just very, very impressive.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for watching, and tune in next week for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag.